Joe James, what's up, brother? Awesome music people.
Steven, so great to be here.
Thanks for being here, man. I obviously, Reed and I have a lot of common interests over at local sets. And
Oh yeah, Reed's awesome, man.
when I lived in South Austin, honestly, I used to see your posters all around, and and I think I saw you at the O4 Center way back in the day. I don't know, shit, this would have been 8 years ago.
Oh,
You
cool.
played
Yeah,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah.
So welcome, man.
Cool. Thank
So
you, man.
where are you from, Joe?
I was born in Long Beach, California,
Right.
and then moved to Long Beach, California, home of Sublime
Oh
and
yeah,
Snoop Dogg.
they just put out a new single.
Sublime did.
Yeah,
That's
they
right, with Bradley's son, right? Is
yeah.
doing the thing. Yeah,
Yeah, he's I think they created a new record label. I don't know. What
yeah.
I'm gonna screw it up, but yeah, they just put out a new single. I'm super pumped for that album.
Me
Shit.
too, man. I love Sublime. I remember listening to them all the time. My brother would, be jamming them on the radio. But we moved to Paris, a little place called Paris, California.
Okay.
Which is funny because every time I say, they're like, people are like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Paris," and they're like, "Paris, France." I'm like, not even close, not even close.
Could be
Um,
from Paris, Texas too.
yeah, that's right, Paris, Texas. So we moved there, and I grew up in Paris, California, which is the Inland Empire, Riverside,
Good.
like all in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. And so what brought you to Texas or Austin?
Um, Man, to get away from California. And that was about that was probably 10 or 11 years ago. My wife and I
Okay.
moved here to Texas, but we moved up to Temple. I have family in Temple, Texas, so we moved
Nice.
there, um, and just to get away from the city and that fast paced life that
Yeah.
you'll find in California. And so we moved here about 10 years ago, um, and just never looked back, man. I've always loved Texas. My family had been coming up here since I can remember. My
Hmm.
sister from my dad's first marriage lives lived here in Texas, still lives
Okay.
here in Texas, and we'd always come out and visit her
Yeah.
from when I was a kid. I remember, driving up, making that long drive because we'd never fly, we'd just drive. But man, it was such a great experience. And I remember telling myself as a kid, like I
Hmm.
was like, I don't know, 5, 6 years old. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna move here when I get
Yeah.
when I grow up. And I
Nice.
did. Yeah.
And so were you playing music out in California before you moved?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I started playing music at the I started showing an interest at the age of about 5 or 6,
Mm.
7. My dad's a musician,
Oh, nice. All right. So you guitarist?
bass player,
Bass player. All right.
and he played bass and sang all over the Sunset Strip with all the rock
Wow.
stars and did the '80s thing.
Oh, he was in that
Oh,
scene.
he was in that scene,
Wow.
man. And he eventually he became a pastor. So, but he was like this rock and roll pastor type. And he still played bass, and he had some bands, but they, instead of rocking for, the devil, they were
Yeah.
rocking for Jesus
So
now.
was it kind of like a turnaround situation, or was he always strong in his faith?
No, it was a turnaround situation for sure. Cause he was wild. From what I
Yeah.
heard.
So was he playing like the Viper Room and all that?
Well, I don't how long I don't think the Viper Room was even around at that time.
Oh, really?
Was it? I
Shit,
think he
man.
was like more Troubadour,
Yeah.
Gazzarri's, Whiskey A Go Go,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was all over, man. He was all over that place. But
That's awesome.
he was the one who inspired me, obviously to play because he had bands and he started like Christian metal, like rock bands, which is
Nice.
interesting.
Nice.
Like he had a band called Contagious, and their slogan was heavenly metal. It'll rock the hell out of you. You can't make that up, man. And then he had a band called Messenger, and I remember just sitting in front of like his guitar players, like Marshall Stack,
Oh yeah.
and just being like, "Oh man,
Mm.
like make race car noises
Yeah.
and and elephant noises." And they let me sit on the drum kit with the double kicks, and my feet couldn't even reach the kick pedals. But man, yeah. So that was kind of like the
You grew up
I
around it.
grew up around it. Yeah, it was all around.
So did he? I mean, kind of naturally, you didn't. He's not going to push it on you, but
Yeah.
did were y'all in like a family band? Like were all your siblings playing music and doing that whole thing?
No, I mean, I think I'm the only one out of Yeah, I am the only one out of my family unit
Okay.
that plays music. My sisters can kind of sing,
Yeah.
but they don't pursue it professionally. But no, he definitely pushed not didn't push me into it, but he was a huge influence because it was all around,
Yeah.
and so I was just completely enamored by music and him and
Mhm.
his bandmates and
Yeah.
all of that stuff.
Just the whole situation.
But I started playing at the age of 8,
Okay.
playing bass. Obviously,
Okay.
my dad's a
Yeah.
bass player, so I wanted to be
Yeah.
like him. But then just from then on, I started jumping into bands when I was about 13.
Okay.
Um, and playing all around around town and heading up to LA and doing that thing. Um, and yeah, man. But my earliest influence was obviously my dad and all of his bands, but he is a huge Beatles fanatic.
Mm.
And he would always play like the Beatles anthology and like that would he
Yeah.
just have it he played it seemed like 100 times a week. He'd just have it on, like watching it, just
Yeah.
be in the background.
Yeah.
And that was like that was like a master class for songwriting and being an artist and a
Mhm.
musician. So that was pretty awesome.
So that's where you draw a lot of your influences from, you think?
Yeah,
At
absolutely. I
least
mean,
subconsciously?
subconsciously, sure. I mean, now, you know, as you grow older, I mean, your influences change and your why
Yep.
changes, like
Sure.
why you're doing everything. But the early years, yes, absolutely. It was the Beatles anthology was just I remember having that moment. Like I had the moment where I said, "This is what I'm gonna do for the
Yeah.
rest of my life." And
What was that moment?
it was the have you seen the Beatles anthology? Have you watched it?
I think so.
Yeah, so
Probably, man.
I never really got into, like, their earlier years with, Mop Top and their,
Yeah.
Love Me Do, which is they're great songs,
Yeah.
but I was more into their later years, so I'd watch those anthologies and there's the last concert they had on the rooftop
Mhm.
of Apple Corp,
Yep.
and, they're playing Don't Let Me Down, and Paul has his
Yep.
iconic Hofner
Yeah,
bass.
George got his telly.
Yeah, that Telly, which was made out of, like, rosewood or
Yeah, it's
something. I
beautiful
bet that
guitar. I
thing was
love that
heavy.
color, man.
And then John, of course, in his that beautiful fur coat that he had. I was like, dude, I've been looking for that coat forever now. And then, Ringo back there in that
Mhm.
red raincoat. And they were playing Don't Let Me Down. And I remember in that moment, I was just watching them and just that light bulb went off. I'm like, this is what I'm doing.
Mm.
This is what I have to do for the rest of my life. It was almost like a calling. Like, it
Mm.
it didn't feel like an inspiration or like, "Oh, man, a fantasy," or, I was just like, I have to
Yeah.
do this."
Yeah. So what is your why now? What's
Man, I think my why now is just to bring with music because music is a healing factor. Like, music is such a special
Absolutely.
thing. It's a language that, we can speak all around the world, and so I think for me, it's just bringing that hope and that healing factor to people
Mm.
with the gift and the calling that I have within within music, And I think that I watch it completely change someone's mood like that,
Yep.
And it's such a special thing. So now it's more about just stewarding that gift that I have to help uh to help people,
Yep. It's a
and
very rooted why, very grounded.
yeah,
Very, very I
that's
mean, hell, I'll use the term authentic. Like
it is, man, and I mean, because it's definitely helped me. I mean, and I come to realize as well, like it's not music and being an artist is not my identity, but it is
mm,
a extension of who I am. Um, and it's a tool that is a very helpful tool for me therapeutically. It's my therapy,
yeah.
but it's also therapy for others, and I have to remind myself to steward that well. That it's it's not uh, it's not just for me.
Yeah.
It's for the people, and like it's for whoever's coming out to the shows or whoever's being touched by whatever lyric or or sonic sound that they're hearing within the music, you know?
Yeah. It's a cool outlook, man. That's a unique outlook, but I would think that a lot of musicians have that in them, but maybe it's not
Sure.
the reason why they play music. That's just kind of I don't know, just a benefit of
Sure.
being able to play music and play in front of people and watch people react. But if that's, and not that the reaction is your why, but the movement that you get within people,
Right. Yeah.
and man, me and my buddy were talking last night. He used to be in some bands here in town, and he was talking about the addiction that is playing in front of people
Sure.
and just seeing the reaction of individuals. And so if you can get it at a not just face value, but at a molecular level where people are just, crying to your music or
Yeah.
just really feeling it, or just hell, just dancing, just letting themselves go,
Yeah, man.
that's
It's
cool.
special. Yeah. Music is just a very special thing, man.
So, when you moved down to Texas, did you immediately start playing music, or I guess what brought you to Austin specifically?
Um, so to backtrack a little,
Yeah.
when we moved to Texas, we moved to up to Temple,
Hmm.
and no, I didn't play music for a little while
Okay.
because I was so immersed in the LA scene, which I mean, any musician that is listening to this will probably be like, "Yeah, I understand what you're saying," but it's so fake and like
Mm,
plastic, and it's all about what people can get from you. It's not about like it's not what they want for you, but it's what they can get from you.
yeah.
Which I've never really sat in that mentality. I've always sat in the mentality like, what I don't want from you, I want for you.
Yeah.
So even with the audience, like I don't want from you. I've never been one to be like, you know, I I seek the attention of people because honestly, I really don't. Like I like to go home and I like to just
Yeah.
be at home and like
Yeah.
very introvert. I like to make my music, but fortunately and unfortunately, like this is what I do. This is the only thing I do for a living. So
Yeah.
I go out there and I play, uh, you know, and I make a living from it. Um, but yes, to answer your question, I didn't play music for a good maybe couple months, or even longer
Mm,
when I got here to Texas because I was just so burnt out by people taking and taking and
yeah.
taking in the Los Angeles area.
I think that's what makes the Austin scene so unique is,
Oh yeah,
it's not what can you do for me, it's what can we do for each other. And listen, man, I've been doing this podcast 7 months,
yeah,
and in the short 7 months that I've and the folks that I've met and people I've been introduced to, every single person has been that way.
yeah, man.
It's, "Oh, you have a music podcast. Well, cool. How can we help? How can we
Sure.
what can we do to grow it?" And touch on Reed. That type of individual is so, I don't know, it's just all over the scene.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I definitely understand kind of just being burnt out from having to play the game. Basically, instead of doing what you love, you're playing the game.
Yeah, yeah. And
You
I
know?
mean I'm like, I don't yeah, exactly. I don't care to play the game.
Yeah.
Again, like I've always been super authentic in that way where I've never played music to be popular or to be famous
Right.
or
Yeah.
I did it because I had to.
Hmm.
Like, it's something that just kind of, oozes out of me. I can't do I don't know how to do anything else,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And like this is the way I express myself and this is again my therapy. And again, I watch it be a therapy and a healing factor for other people. And
Yep.
so I make sure to steward that well. But yeah, I was so burnt out because I fell into that trap. And eventually again kind of because you do in music in the entertainment business in general like you'll fall into that self gratification
Hmm.
ego
Hmm.
pride especially when a lot of people are patting you on the back all
Yep.
the time and if you fall but I've learned now that I see it coming like a mile away
Nice.
and I'll take a little break
That's
you
just
know
exposure and experience right
yeah,
there,
from
man.
social media or from, whatever, I'm like, "Okay, I need to
Super healthy.
reevaluate," you know?
Yeah, that's super healthy. I mean, that applies to anything in life, but
True, man, but I agree with Austin. Austin, m man, it's so different. in the way in that specific way, like, you have this community of not only artists that are rooting for each other and helping
Mhm.
each other out, but you also have a community of music lovers
Yep.
that are just completely on your side, and
Yep.
rooting for you and there to support and help you in any way, which is I obviously did not see that in Los Angeles, but here it's very apparent, people love live music. They love, authentic, organic, raw music, and they just want to help you any way they can. That's with the community, the listeners, and in the audience, and also with the artists as well,
Yeah.
which is great. They're it's a friendly competition, but it's not really a competition. It almost reminds me of back in like the early 70s when you had, Neil Young and Crosby, Still Nash and Joni Mitchell and all of these people. And they were all fantastic artists, and the Eagles, and
Yeah.
they were all great. And I forget where was it, Echo Valley or some in Los Angeles,
Yeah. You'd know better than I would.
but they were it was that type of community
Mm.
where it wasn't like I wanna, one up you, or
Right.
I wanna beat you on the charts. It was like, "No, like, let's go on tour with each other. Let's help each
Yeah.
other write songs." And
Right.
I feel like Austin is still carrying that torch,
Mhm.
of community within the artists and the musicians,
Yeah. I was talking to Nico Little last weekend, and his current keyboardist plays in 4 bands,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Ain't that the reason?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Dude, it's kinda is all the reason." It's just like, you're sharing resources, you got friends, you're sharing songs, you're sharing ideas,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know, man. I just love it. It makes me happy to see that kind of stuff, and I'm glad from your perspective because I'm kind of an outsider looking into it all, and I'm glad that you kind of feel the same way
Yeah, I really
from
do,
where you
man. I
sit.
mean, I've been fortunate enough. I feel like now there's a lot of companies moving into Austin, which but they're still capitalizing on the live music
Yeah,
capital.
absolutely.
But that we're still hanging on, to to that slogan,
Yeah.
and
Well, and I ask this usually at the end, but what do you think about the term "live music capital of the world"? Like, what does that term mean to you?
well, shoot, that's a great question.
There's no right answer, man.
Well, I think now again, I think they're capitalizing on the slogan because of what was built
Yeah.
years and years, and on the backs of Willie Nelson and
Mhm.
Stevie Ray Vaughan and all
Yep.
these people. Um, I don't think it's what it was, but I think um, there's still that small, very small community that is still carrying holding on to that factor. You know,
Yep.
um,
That's my personal definition of it is the
Yeah, and
community
there
aspect.
really is, and I mean, there's still a heartbeat
Yep.
within the live music capital of the world. Um, I haven't been all over the world, so I can't say, like,
Yeah.
you
Have you
know
done any touring around the states?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I've toured with, uh there's an artist named Jenna McDaniel, and she's a country artist. She's in Nashville now, but I played bass for her for years.
Okay.
And with my own music, I'm not the biggest fan of touring.
Hmm.
Um, again, like I'm an extrovert when I need to be, but I am an
Yeah.
introvert,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I'm like, if I don't like being on a bus for months at a time. It doesn't sound fun to me. So I'm more strategic on places that I hit in certain markets. So
Okay.
because we were just in Chicago playing a few shows, and I'll
Nice.
go over to you know uh Colorado, and over to England and certain places in Europe,
Really?
where I'll just like hit strategically. I won't spend months, but it'll just be like a week.
How do you know where to go? Is it based off just your listenership on your platforms?
Yes, that, and then just your fan slash buyer, like
Yeah.
who's the person that
Yeah.
that you think would listen to this music and where they located
Hmm.
and what do they look like and what do they wear and where do they
Yeah.
go out to eat and where they whatever.
Interesting.
And so like we just are very strategic of like who is that person? Like who's the and what type of music do they like? Like what artists that do they like that are similar to you?
Mhm.
And so we just find those markets and hit those specific
What
markets.
would you say is the biggest market outside Austin for y'all?
Um, Man, there's a few. I mean, it's a lot of the southern states,
Yep.
to be honest,
Yeah.
uh, like Nashville, of course, and Memphis and that area,
Mhm.
but also like Mississippi and Georgia.
Mhm.
Georgia's a great one. Florida's awesome.
Really?
Um, New Orleans can be tricky, but it's awesome.
Man, I'd love to play on a stage in New Orleans.
Dude, New Orleans is so good. I just like going to New
That's a
Orleans.
beautiful city. I for the first time in my life, last time I went to New Orleans, we spent like an hour on Bourbon, and we
Yeah.
actually like saw New Orleans and like
Yeah, dude.
went to go actually experience the city. And man, it's such a beautiful city.
Yeah, it has a vibe, man. It has history and it just has this juju, this vibe that is just seeps into the city and just pours out of almost every character you meet
Yeah,
on the street,
yeah,
whether they're busking or they're in, or they're working in one of the restaurants,
hmm,
whatever. It's like they have character, man. That city
yeah,
has character.
yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Smells a little weird sometimes, but
Yeah,
it's great.
So let's get into your music a little bit. You've got a couple albums out on Spotify. What's the most recent release?
Um, Live at Purple Bee, we did
Okay,
a live recording
with
at
Valente.
yeah, Valente with the Purple Bee crew, which was amazing. It was such a cool experience, and to get all of our fans and people out to the
Yeah.
show was just, it was awesome, man. It was so cool.
So why Purple Bee? Why'd you select that as a venue?
There were a few reasons. I have a relation or like a working relationship with those guys anyway.
Okay.
Um, but it just felt I wanted an intimate space that had everything in it, so we didn't have to rent any,
Mm, hmm.
any gear or, didn't have to, hire engineers or
Yeah.
whatever. They just have it all there.
Yeah.
So it just made sense in that that they have everything within that
Just
studio. They
logistically.
have the space, they have the all the equipment and the crew.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just made sense to do it there. And they're just so fun, man. Like they just have a good time out there.
Nice. So before Live at Purple Bee, I mean, obviously you got a lot of singles out there as well. What was your first full studio album?
That was Found My Way
Okay.
in
And was that
20.
recorded in town?
Yeah, we recorded that at Cedar Creek
Okay. Yeah.
Studios
Hmm.
here in Austin. And it was funny because we were looking for a studio to record this, and I'll kind of go back a little bit, but I recorded this album. It was a tail end of like uh, me falling into like a deep depression
Mm,
and kind of coming back to my faith within all of that. Uh, but I hit a like a dry spell of writing, which never really has happened to me. But in 2021, it did, and I was faced with this like mountain of hopelessness. And nothing meant anything to me anymore, and I had to go through that journey, and nothing was helping. And the only thing that was helping was, or the only thing that helped that was me coming back to my faith, and giving my life back to God, and just an immense amount of hope, a like a dam just opened up and the waters like fell upon me with all that with just an immense amount of hope, which also brought forth a spring of songwriting. Like
wow.
it was like another level of songwriting that I never experienced before, and I was just writing song after song after song, um, and I think I wrote almost like 50 songs, which we got down to about 8 that made the record. Found My Way. But when we were going to record this album, um, I wanted the space to I wanted everything to mean something instead of just jumping into a
Mm.
recording studio and being like, all right, this is the one. So we went all around town, even went over to the Cedar Park area to a studio out there, and nothing was making sense. Like I'd walk into a studio and I'm like, no, this is not the one I want to tell my testimony, my story at. And so we ended up Cedar Creek was the last one, and we're pulling up to the we pulled in the gates, and as I'm as we're pulling up, there's like weeds and it looks like an old barn. I'm like, what the heck? What the hell is this place? And so I would text the guy and I'm like, hey, is it am I at
Yeah.
the right spot? And he's like, oh yeah, you're definitely if you're asking this question, you're at the right spot. So I'm like, oh man, it felt like we were gonna get murdered there. But anyway, we like walk into the studio and right away I was like, man, this is it. It has scars. It feels like it's been lived in. It feels like it has so many stories and so that was the place we decided to record that very very special album. It's one of my favorites because it's my testimony. It's the album that holds songs that mean so much to me,
Mhm.
you know.
And so when you said you hit this dry spell and you were coming out of it, finding your faith,
Yeah.
was that through prayer and meditation, or was that through talking with like priests, or was
Sure.
pastors?
So
Or
I'll kind of backtrack a little bit. So I mean, I we got to Austin, or we moved from Temple to Austin to
Mhm.
jump into the scene.
Okay.
Right away, like I was I was fortunate enough to join like this community of people that really helped me out. And right away I was just very accepted and started playing bigger shows
Wow.
that I probably shouldn't. I mean, I shouldn't have, but I'm thankful,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I was just met with open arms and was doing all of this stuff, and like all of these opportunities kept coming my way, and again going back to my like ego and pride started to take over a little bit,
Mm.
and I was like, yeah, man, this is me. I'm making this happen. Like I'm Joe James, whatever,
Mm.
whatever that meant,
Yeah.
But anyway, the way I explained it is everything was going great until it wasn't, and this is because I have I had a past of addiction and
Mm.
sexual abuse when I was younger that I buried it deep into the corners of into the closet of my subconscious and that I never dealt with. And I think I tried. This is why I always say music is not my identity, and it was a healing factor and it was something an outlet, but it also became a mask at times too. And
Mm.
I found like I was numbing with alcohol, with music too, and I wasn't allowing myself to face and work through a lot of things. So in 2021, I ended up facing just a mountain of like depression and hopelessness that I'd never experienced before because I was burying everything, you know, deep within the closet of my mind. And I always tell people like I felt like I pushed all of this stuff into the closet until like I couldn't
Right. Until the
like
door
until the door
burst.
just burst open.
Yeah.
Then I was like, now I got to clean all this stuff up.
I mean, there's a fine line between, and you just kind of made it click for me in my head between um, the mask
Yeah,
and the outlet, right? Like
right.
you're feeling this way, so you want to play music because it makes you feel better and it's an outlet. But at what point did you realize this is more of a mask? And that's just self
Sure. I
growth.
mean, I think it was that point
Yeah.
when music, the outlet and the beautiful, thing that music is, um, wasn't working.
Mm,
So,
I see.
listening to music and writing music and being on the stage because I was still performing. I do this for a living, so I was
Right.
still getting on the stage and playing. However, I wasn't I wasn't there. Like
Yeah.
I was completely just like shut off. I was
Mhm.
numb. I didn't feel the connection to the crowd or even to the music that I had
That's
at
scary, man.
one point. Very scary. So I mean, I went off into like trying to, because I'm a my wife was really into like Enneagram and stuff like that. So I guess I was like a 3, which is an achiever, and
Mm,
I forget the wing that was with that. But
yeah.
anyway, that's what I am. I like to like I set my mind on something and I'll achieve it. And so depression was the only thing I couldn't achieve the goal of like not having
Yeah.
depression. And so like I'm trying to do all of this stuff myself. I'm reading books, listening to podcasts,
Yeah.
and nothing was pulling me out of that darkness. And I remember I again grew up in church. My dad was
Mhm.
a pastor. But it never really clicked with me. And I understood the significance and like the scripture and how, how beautiful and helpful they can be, but I never had like a personal relationship with that until that very moment.
Mm.
Um, and about 3 months went by, where I was just trying to figure out, like, how am I gonna get myself out of depression? I like, nothing I'm numb, like, nothing is making me feel good anymore, and I ended up going on and I had all these things. My mind was completely crowded and foggy, and I was having thoughts of, suicide and all of these things, and I was walking around uh a lake around my house, and I had my dog. We were walking around this lake, and I remember um having this thought of like, why don't you just cry out, to God and ask God if if he could take this away or help you. And I remember like not wanting to, because I have a lot of church hurt as well, and I saw a lot of things in church where I'm like, if these people are a reflection of this God,
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with that God.
Yeah.
And so that was my mindset. Um, but that wasn't the reality of who God is. So I ended up crying out like, God, if you are who you say you are, help me. And I remember
Whoa.
a couple, maybe like 35 to 40 minutes go by, and I'm like, man, all those thoughts are still there. And I kid you not, Stephen, like all the thoughts completely silenced. And I heard and felt a voice say, I'm here. And from that moment on, I was like, I fell to my knees. I was crying and I said, I'll follow you till the day I take my last breath. And so ever since then, it gave me a new purpose and a why of why I do this. And it is to help people. It's not selfishly. I want to glorify God with the gift that He's given me. And I also want to bring people into this type of healing
Mhm.
through that gift, which is music.
Well, thank you for sharing that story, first
Yeah,
of
of
all,
course, man.
because that's real, man. And, the you're not the only one that has gone through that, and I think more people need to hear stories like that, and it doesn't have to be, um I personally am a Christian, but it doesn't always have to be rooted in faith, but it has to be rooted in some belief of something that,
Sure.
um, you're not necessarily in control of everything that happens in life,
Yeah, you're
and
not. And there's a power in saying the quiet thing out loud. And I think for men specifically, like
yes.
we don't, because
Yeah.
we're in Western culture, it's like for years it's just been like shut up and work,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
like you don't cry.
Mhm.
Um which is kind of contradictory to the biblical text. Even when you look at Jesus's life, like he cried. He went to
Yeah.
the mountain and he cried and he wept.
Yeah, right.
Shortest scripture in the Bible is Jesus wept. And so, but we base our foundation on that, but men aren't allowed, or are shamed. They're shamed
Mhm.
when they show any type of emotion like
Yeah.
that, and they bury everything down because like we can't. We're men. We don't
Yep.
cry, which that's a weakness in itself. I think the strength is saying the thing out loud, because it then sets you free. I heard Actually, it's a pastor friend of mine, Pastor Torrin Wells, which he has Church of Whitestone in Cedar Park.
Okay.
And we had, my wife and I, that's our church. But he talked about that specifically is like God forgives you, but saying the quiet thing out loud frees you of the shame and the guilt. And because if
Mm,
you hold it in, like, yes, you're forgiven of whatever you've gone through, or, and, but you're not free. You're still carrying that around if you don't say it aloud, because it still has power if you don't put it out into the air. Once you put it out into the air, once you say it like I am on this podcast, or I say it, freely when I talk about my story, it doesn't have power anymore.
mm.
You're free from it, And so saying the quiet thing out loud is a powerful thing, and that's why I'm like I encourage,
Say the quiet thing.
say the quiet thing out loud. Yeah.
It's great advice.
It is. It's great advice, man, and it's very powerful advice.
Well, again, thank you for sharing that story. I mean that just goes to show who you are as an artist. So, in your in your songwriting, would you consider yourself a Christian artist?
No, I would say I'm an artist who is a Christian.
Yeah.
I'm not a Christian artist.
Yeah.
I write because I think, and this is not to this is not to knock any type of Christian contemporary music, but they write from a place that's specifically geared for the church.
Mm.
Um, and no one else, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's
That's
beautiful, and like I get a lot out of it when I'm worshiping at church. But I think I'm called to another thing, to where I'm telling my story
right.
and what God has done for me, and the hardships and the realness of life, but also the beautiful, the hope within it as well. And it's it's rooted in faith,
Right.
the lyrical content, but it's rooted in real life, just like the Bible is rooted in real life, and all those people that went through, you read the old characters of the Old Testament and even the New, is they all were just messed up and messy people,
Yep.
but God gets the glory because He's the great one, and so, but everyone else is really messy, and so like when I write, I just write from a messy place because
Yeah.
like, you know, what
Yeah.
makes me great is Jesus, like, and that's literally the only thing. And so, and he's given me strength and all of these great abilities, but I remember that all of those were stripped away at one time, and nothing gave me hope but him. And so these things are very temporary, but what isn't temporary is that. And so, like, now the music is just a glorification, and I live my life to bless God, and and I love that he's using it in such a way that people get something out of it, and people can have this healing factor and this joy and hope from this music. But yeah, not a Christian artist, but an
Okay.
artist who is a Christian.
Like, yeah, I mean that makes sense. So let's get into your band a little bit. So
Yeah,
who makes up your band?
love those guys. So we've kind of s- scaled it down to, it's a three-piece now, and it was a bigger band. But musically and sonically, it's kind of going a different route.
Mm.
Still the same heart, but just different.
Yeah.
So right now, who I'll tell you who made up the band, and it was my buddy Tyler Logan, who's a guitar player and backing vocal, and he's amazing, and we still do a lot of stuff together. A guy named Xavier Gonzalez Jr., who played keys and backing vocals, and now he's doing his thing. He has a couple wedding bands that
Nice.
he's in. And the two guys that are still with me, are Daniel Watson, who's a drummer, who's the best drummer that I know. He's so musical too. He not only plays drums, he plays, bass and
Mm.
keys, and then Eli Menezes, who is one of my best friends. He's a bass player, but he also is like one of the best guitar players I know, which is intimidating to
Yeah.
play guitar, and he's over there playing bass. I'm like, am
Yeah.
I doing it right? Uh, and he also produced, "Found My Way," and he's
Mm.
producing a new album that we're working on right now.
Cool. So what's that new album? What's the goal with this album?
Well, again, we've shifted kind of gears musically because we were kind of blues and rock,
Mhm.
based. Um, However, this is more of like a gritty Americana,
Okay.
little bit of blues and soul. I
Yeah.
can't get away from the soul.
Yeah.
Uh, and then it has some country elements in it as well. But
Hmm.
I wanted to, because I felt what was happening musically is the music was taking precedence, and that was at the forefront, and the lyrics and the vocals were kind of taking a step back,
Hmm.
um, when it came to shows and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And so I've always felt, and so have the audience, is like people come to hear not only the music, but like my voice. They're
Yeah.
always wanting, like,
Absolutely.
they'll come up to me like, we that was awesome. The music was awesome, but we couldn't hear your voice. We wish we could have heard your voice.
Mm.
And that seemed like this pattern that was happening for, a couple months to a year.
Interesting.
So it was kind of just, it was on my heart to shift that to where, like, that takes the vocals and the lyrics, uh take front seat and take precedence over the musical aspect. The
Right.
music is a foundation for that.
Yeah.
We're serving the song, like, and that's what this next album will be, is an album that serves the song, which in you know which within that, people are going to be able to hear these heartfelt lyrics and these soulful, vocal melodies that are coming from a place that, like, a place that I've experienced. They're coming from experience. They're
Yeah.
coming from, you know, the stories that I have to tell. So I want that to be what um what kind of steers this album. Is like
Okay.
people are gonna. It's a storytelling album.
And what a beautiful way to we talked about the outlet versus the mask before, but
Yeah,
um I hope y'all and you clearly do recognize how I'll use the term lucky you are
yeah,
to be able to to tell those stories and have that outlet. And man, what an awesome thing.
yeah, man. I am very lucky, man, and I think and that's why I go back to that word. I want to steward it well.
Mm.
I want to make sure that, yes, the music is the foundation, but there's a testimony and there's stories within that
Hmm.
that need to be at the forefront
And
of.
you feel like it's your
It's
responsibility.
my responsibility to
Right.
steward that well.
It's a great
Yeah.
way to look at it. So are y'all doing this at Cedar Creek?
I know we're doing it at a place called Dog Star. I don't know
Okay.
if you ever
Not
heard of that
familiar.
one. I haven't either, but my buddy Matt Malley, who's engineering the album, he suggested it. He thought it
Okay.
would be a great fit for what we're doing, and we walked in there, and of course, I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the
Felt
vibe. This is
same
cool."
way.
Yeah, so we're cutting everything at Dog Star, probably doing some of the overdubs and vocal stuff at my buddy Eli's home studio, just so we could take our time
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
just spend a lot of time there. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this one. It's different. It has a vibe. It's one of the, what it reminds me of? Like, if you just if you're taking a road trip and you
Mm.
want your perfect road trip music,
Mm.
you're driving through the desert or through the swamps or, whatever, like, you know,
Nice.
this is the album for that,
Yeah.
you know.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I saw that you had you played a little stint on Jam in the Van.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool, man. When
Yeah,
did that happen?
I think that was like the beginning of, I think that was, no, it was like mid to late 2021.
Okay.
Uh so
So
what's
this was during
this is during that
during the
time.
hard times.
This is during the hard time. So I was basically, going through the motions a little bit
Yeah.
with Jam in the Van. So I don't it wasn't the best experience
Yeah.
for me.
Okay.
But it's for everyone else it looked really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a kind of a legendary
Yeah, it's
thing
iconic,
now,
man.
right?
And I hope to do it again. I think maybe we'll reach out to them and
Yeah.
do it again while I'm in this season of my life.
Yeah. Awesome. And then you also did You're not the first voice, The Voice, I should
The
say,
Voice, yeah.
contestant. I was talking to Katrina Kane, and
Oh, I love
who
Katrina.
was also on The Voice, and I didn't know. She kind of described it to me, and I never really thought about it this way. That it makes complete sense. Is at the end of the day, I think it's a game show,
Man,
and
she's
so
right. Yeah. I love Katrina. My wife actually cuts her and her husband's hair.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
But
Yeah, she's
we've
awesome.
before that, me and her were, we knew of each other, and we actually met in Springboard at the Springboard Festival in, I think it's Huntington Beach, California.
Oh, nice.
And we both flew out
That's right.
there.
'Cause she lived out there.
Yeah, we both flew out there, did the festival, met up there, talked about The Voice and how,
Mhm, mhm.
and that whole experience. But no, she's right. I always explain it as like it's I say that there's a reason they don't win Grammys, they win Emmys. It's
Mm,
because they're a TV show.
mhm.
And I think a lot of people, because they don't know the ins and outs
Right.
of what goes into making a TV show. But yeah, it's all, I mean, it's they they want to make a really entertaining TV show.
At the end of the day, I mean,
And at the end of the day, all of the contestants are just essentially background actors,
mhm.
and the stars of the show are the coaches,
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
exactly, and then they
Um,
bring in the celebrity judge
yeah,
and
so
all that.
that's what it's about. But don't get me wrong, I had a great time and like a great experience there. I honestly didn't want to do it. This was back
Mm,
in 2019.
okay.
Um, but because I was fully immersed in the Austin scene.
Yeah, you
I
were
was
doing it
playing,
here.
I was making a living. I had a bunch of shows. I'm like, and I got an email from the production company,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to do that. I wasn't even intrigued. I didn't even entertain it, but my wife saw the email and she's like, maybe you should do it. Like, go try it out, you know? And I'm like, if you think I should, then I
Yeah.
will. So funny stories. They had an audition at, I think, one of the sound stages here, and I went in. I was completely just like, I was exhausted, tired because I had a gig the night before. I
Mhm.
wasn't taking this seriously at
Yeah,
all.
you're just like,
And
"I'll
so
show up."
I walk in with glasses. I always wear glasses. They're actually prescription.
Okay.
So I walk in. But they were dark glasses too, and I went and went up there, and I was chewing gum as well. And they were like, can you take the gum out, please?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm sorry." Like, put the gum down. And they're like, "And actually, can you the glasses, like, can you take the glasses?"
Oh,
And I'm like,
sh
"Oh yeah, yeah, I'm sorry." So I do it, and I get off, and I'm like, sitting in the waiting room, and then they're like, "We really loved, your audition. Can you tell us your story?" So I told them,
Mhm.
some of my story, which is, at that point, I wasn't saying the quiet thing out loud, so
Yeah,
I just told them this is kind of BS story,
sure.
and they loved it. And then they flew me out to LA, Burbank, California, where we did some other auditions
Mhm.
with the producers, and then essentially made it onto the show. But I was there for about a month and a half, kind of sequestered from the
Wow.
world, um, just in this hotel. We'd go from the hotel to the back lot of Universal
Mhm.
Studios, which was awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
That
it's
was
a cool
cool.
experience.
Yeah, so the experience was great. Did it do anything for my career? It got me a few more followers, maybe.
Yeah,
And then it's cool to say you're on The Voice. Some corporate events, I I do capitalize on that a little bit because
as
they're
you
like, "You were
should.
on The Voice," and like, "Yeah," and
Yeah.
they book you because of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But other
Whatever it
than
takes,
that,
man.
like, it really, it was just a cool experience.
Good.
And it was also weird um being in this place where you've been doing, like myself and Katrina, like we've been doing it for years,
Mhm.
played at all the smoky bars, paid our dues, right?
Sure.
But now we're shoved into this, to this in this place where we're on the same playing field as the person who has never left their bathroom
Right, the
singing,
17-year-old that
yeah, who's
hasn't
like
st
sang in the bathroom
right,
in
yeah,
front of her
yeah, yeah.
mom, but we're on the same playing
Mhm.
field, and we're like, but no, we're not though,
Mhm.
Uh, and
Yeah.
so that was weird. where
Yeah.
you had that where
Never really thought about it that way. It's an interesting dynamic though, where
yeah,
yeah,
it's a weird dynamic where you're like, like again, me and someone like Katrina Kane, like we do this. This
yeah,
is how we pay our bills,
yeah,
and then now we're same level as someone who's like, oh, this is my first time actually singing in front of
yeah.
anyone. You're like, what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you one of the takeaways, I'm sure you got some cool footage out of the deal and that whole experience, like
Yeah,
you
yeah. I
said.
think the
And
biggest takeaway for me, more than any of the content, was the people I
mm,
met. Some of the other singers and
yeah,
artists, and some of the connections with the production of the crew with the voice, like that I'm still friendly and with now.
nice.
Which is that was my biggest takeaway,
Okay.
was like the relationships that came out of that.
I mean, to me, that's a win, man. Who cares
That
if
is a
you
win.
win the
Yeah.
show? Like, if you're taking away the relationships and taking away those,
And I mean, honestly, I would've I wouldn't wanna win the show.
yeah.
The contracts are kind of a little nutty,
Oh, I'm
uh,
sure they're
but I
ridiculous.
always ask people because people still come up to me, like, and they're like, "Have you ever you consider auditioning for The Voice? You'd be great on The Voice." And I'm, like, packing out Antones or
Yeah,
something, and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and they're like, "You should do it, man, I'm telling you." And I'm like, all right, I'll sign up next week."
Oh shit.
But I end up asking if they're pushy, like, 'cause some people are a little pushy, and they're like, "No, I'm serious. You need to do it. You could win the show, and it'll change your life." And I always ask, like, who's the last person to win The Voice?" And they're like, "Uh,
Yeah,
I don't know."
no
I'm like,
idea.
"Exactly, man. Like,
Couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you who won American Idol, The Voice,
I
and
couldn't
shit.
either."
My wife loves that show, and so we watch
Yeah.
it, and I have no idea who won last year.
Dude, I don't
I
either.
just
So, I mean, like, it is just about making a great TV show, and that's
yeah,
cool. But like, does it benefit the artist like, an extremely impactful way for their career? Like, I personally don't really think so.
yeah. No, I
Cool
hear that.
experience, though.
So you touched on Antones. Let's get into the Austin music scene a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've obviously played around. You've done a bunch of shows. So, where are your favorite places to play in town?
Man, I mean, you and I both know there's, like, so many, but I think the most recent one was the Paramount.
Mm,
Paramount Theater was, like, man, it was such a cool spot.
wow, that's a beautiful venue.
Beautiful venue, and I didn't know this, but my buddy Sean Gettings, who plays with Pat Green, he was like, "Hey, man, when you're there, look up at the ceiling, and there's still a hole in the ceiling that I guess from way back when Houdini performed there, he, like, cut a hole and, like,
Oh shit,
it came down
well,
from
that's
the
cool.
ceiling, and I guess they kept it there. They didn't
Yeah,
patch it up, so, like, the whole time while I was playing, I, like, kept looking up there, and I'm like, "No, that's cool. Houdini came
yeah.
down from the hole." But no, that was great, and we were supporting, Mark Broussard, which is one of my favorite artists, and he was headlining that night, and we were on that show, which
Mm,
was that venue's fantastic, man.
yeah,
So cool.
that's cool.
But I
And
mean, yeah, there's Antones I've played a few times. Always great, such an iconic
did you
venue.
play any of the? I'm trying to do the math in my head of when you moved to Austin. So I guess you wouldn't have played the previous Antone's location.
No, no, it
Yeah.
was at the new location when I
Yeah.
got here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but still, I mean, hell, they moved around a couple times. Doesn't really matter where the building
Yeah,
sits.
man. And
It's
I've done some events on the second floor for some
oh yeah,
parties,
yeah.
which those
Still a
are
little
cool.
space up there.
That space is awesome. But yeah, Antones and of course, Sea Boys
Hmm.
the Continental, the Austin and Houston.
Yeah,
Cool.
I haven't
Um,
been to the Houston one. I need to get out there and check it
and
out.
then Saxon, man. I love Saxon. I love Joe and Jody. Like they're just it still holds on to that old school Austin vibe,
Mm,
which I love and admire so much. And they're all about the music and the artist and just real, authenticity and like songwriting
mm.
and in the craft, of in the art of music. So Saxon is like one of my all-time favorites, man. I love Saxon.
So, I mean, you just touched on a little bit about what separates them. So you think it's like an ownership thing, like how they support musicians and how they support
Yeah, sure. I think
actual
some
experience?
people are they are still holding on to the heart of what,
Mhm.
Austin, was.
Yep.
And those are places like, like Antones and
Yep.
Seaboys, Continental, specifically Saxon. Saxon still has a lot of the old school characters,
Yeah.
playing there,
Right.
Um, yeah, they're still, they still have that heart, which I love, and I'm so, enamored and I'm intrigued by and inspired by, because I mean, I just love. I'm a more of an analog type of guy anyway, so I'm
Yeah.
like, I love old school.
Yeah.
I love doing it that way. I love writing that way. I love playing that way. Even to the point of like, I don't. If I have to, I'll use in ears, but for the majority of the time, like, just give me some wedges, man. Let's rock and roll.
That's that old school vibe and like you go to a Dale Watson show,
Oh, Dale Watson,
dude,
yeah.
it just takes you back. I mean,
Dude,
you
it's
watch.
nostalgic, man, like, and I think that's what the world is lacking is, like, that energy that they had in the '60s and '70s, even
Mhm.
'80s, '90s, you know? Like, there was a magic there, There was something like, they were just doing what they do. They weren't trying to go viral, they weren't
Right.
trying to be, the next TikTok famous person. They
Yeah.
were just like, this is what we do and we have to do it,
Mhm.
like it or not.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't care if you don't like it, good for you. If you do, like, come on, let's
Come
go.
on, brother.
I
Yeah.
think that's what I loved about like that type of music is they were just creating just for the sake of creating
Yeah.
and making art,
It's a good way to put it.
and that's what I still hold on to uh that type of mentality very heavily is like I do it. I don't care. I want you to I wish you would like me,
Yeah,
but if
of
you don't,
course.
I
Yeah.
don't care. I'm not gonna go chasing you and trying to conform to whatever's going on today,
Yeah.
which would then completely eliminate my authenticity, And so
Not worth it.
I'm just gonna be me, like it or not. If you like it, welcome to the family. Let's go on this journey together. If you don't, there's something out there for
Yeah.
you.
Well, everybody should just listen to Down to the River.
Oh man,
God
cool.
dang it,
Thank you,
man.
man.
I love that song. I love that groove. I mean,
It's a fun one, man. It's we end the night with that song. We always end the night with that song. And we do kind of a bit of a black gospel church ending.
mm,
So, we're doing the come on, come on. So come on, come on, come on. Then we'll go, bam. We do like, this is thank y'all for coming. God bless y'all,
yeah.
whatever. And
God.
it's just the energy off of that. It's
That's
like,
the first word that came to my mind, man. Just energy.
dude, it's like it's like we take people to this electric church every time they come to show.
That's awesome. And you've been able to do some things outside of just playing shows. You're a member of Sonic Guild, or was it Black Fret then when you?
It was Black Fret, but it was 2022 when I was a nominee for Black Fret, but at the Black Fret Ball, which is Sonic Guild Ball
Mhm.
now, they transitioned. They changed the name
Yeah.
at the show I was
Okay.
playing.
Awesome.
But yeah, they've been great, man. It's such a cool organization, which I admire what they're doing.
Yeah.
What they do for artists to provide the funds
Mhm.
and means to make art and tour and play shows.
Well, and that goes back in my mind to the community aspect with how many organizations similar to Sonic Guild. I mean, you have Ham, you have Sims, the
Yeah,
two big boys in the
yeah,
health side of things,
yeah,
mental and physical health, and then Sonic Guild and just all the other nonprofits. And we could spend a whole podcast talking about all the people
yeah.
that.
That's another thing. You're right. That makes Austin so special. Is like you have these, and I've spoken with people in Los Angeles and even in like the Nashville area
Mhm.
that don't have like that many organizations and foundations that are trying to help out the artists,
Yeah.
whether it be with healthcare or any type of mental health or
Yep.
even with funding to go make art. Like, who
Yeah.
does that? Austin
Austin,
does.
Texas,
That's
man.
right.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, I started this show for a lot of reasons, but the main reason was to hear the stories of the people that created and developed the scene.
Mm.
And it wasn't just musicians in mind.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to the individuals that started Ham. That's no, I have the CEO of Sims coming on here in a couple weeks because that is just as critical as you being on stage, in my opinion,
No, it's
of
true, man.
the scene.
Again, it's a
Mm.
community. Like, we're just the ones that get to look really cool,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
You're the one you get to
You
wear
know?
the
Yeah,
cool
we're just
glasses.
the poster boys of something much deeper and
Yeah,
much more meaningful, you know? We're just the pretty faces of it all, you
yeah,
know? But you know, it's about the music and it's about the people, not only the listener, but the consumer, but not only the consumer, but also like the artist. Like we're all together in this, you know? But we don't have that community without the art,
yeah.
without the artist and the person making that art. So Sims and Ham, you know, to provide that type of thing for artists to keep them doing what they do for this community is so special, man. It's like it's not I don't think it's happening anywhere else,
Yeah.
truly. It's special what they're doing, you know.
Well, we're lucky, man. We're lucky to
Yeah,
be in
we
a
are.
city that supports this. I mean, music's the whole reason why I was originally attracted to Austin in the first
Yeah.
place. I'm from San Antonio and went to A&M, and so I just knew I didn't want to go back home, and I was addicted to music, and so I was
Yeah.
like, all right, let's go check out Austin. And luckily, the city's been kind to me, and I'm glad that you feel the same way.
Yeah.
So, how do you think we keep Austin music, Austin music?
Well, I think it's some of the things we've touched on is like that, obviously those organizations and helping music are helping the artist in those ways, but
Hmm.
the consumer and the audience and the music lover to keep supporting and showing up, I think is very crucial to keeping the live music capital of the
Hmm.
world alive, keeping live music alive, so it's showing up
Yep.
support,
Yep.
and again, like I'm not it's like I love other, I guess, music cities,
Hmm.
but there's just nothing like ours. And like if we want to keep that going, if we want to keep it alive, like we have to keep showing up and the audience has to keep showing up and keep supporting and backing these artists as they make music and they go and play shows and
Yeah.
and and let's keep them creating,
Yeah.
you know.
At the end of the day, this is your living,
Yeah.
and for you to sustain that, you need support. And you know, the more I get to talk to musicians and understand the business side of music, and I mean, what are you making? 0.18 cents
Oh, don't
off of a stream or whatever the hell it is.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah. And that's the
mm,
thing too, man, is we're not living that's a great point, is like we're not living in that golden age of music where you can make money off your records. Like we have to the way we make money is off of our live shows
yeah,
and our merch.
and merch. Yep.
Um, that's it. We don't make money off of streams.
Yep.
And if you get into the realm like I've been recently of syncing and licensing, which is a smart thing for artists to do, is to get into that venue and start having some type of residual and
Mm,
revenue coming from that is very smart. But yeah, man, like it's our live shows and our merch.
yeah.
Like so, come out to those and support.
Buy the merch, buy the LPs on the merch desk, and
Exactly, man.
yeah, and I mean, honestly, and I was talking to somebody. I went to the bluegrass night over at radio on Monday,
Oh,
which
cool.
was freaking
Yeah, I saw your Billy Strings poster. I'm like, let's go, dude.
that concert.
God,
I had been a Billy Strings fan. I would say just
really?
like generally,
Yeah,
just like I knew about him and I listened to his music. I went to that show by myself because my wife didn't want to go, so I said, "Screw it." I bought a
yeah,
front row ticket. Bad idea, actually, because I
Really?
was right behind the pit. And of
Okay.
course, the tallest, biggest left tackle in all of
Always.
Austin was standing right in front of me.
Always, yeah.
But so I was by myself and like I said, and so I was just so focused on the music. And first of all, the crowd felt like an Austin crowd.
Yeah.
There was like the young high school kids that like, clearly grew up with musical parents.
Yeah.
There was the older crowd. There was I don't know, man, it just felt like an Austin crowd. I felt like I was at a show at Seaboys or something, like, it
That's
felt
cool.
very local
Yeah.
at Moody Center, which
At
is
Moody Center?
massive,
Okay, cool, yeah.
and, yeah, he played, I guess, at ACL Live the night before, and, it was like no opener, 2.5 hours or whatever it was of just in your face, and
Dude,
just, I
what a
mean,
picker, dude.
God, dude,
Dude, he's so
like,
good. I love he's so and his songs are so some of them are so quirky, like he has
yeah.
Dust in a Baggie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he's a
Dust
quirky
in a
guy.
Baggie. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but
But dude, he is so talented and is just like
he's
paying
ignited a whole genre.
oh man, he's like he's brought to bluegrass to the surface of
Yeah,
like music, man. Cause I mean, it was really like bluegrass was a kind of an underground thing,
I mean,
you
shit,
know?
I've been playing guitar for however long, and I never really got
Yeah,
into
like
bluegrass, like
there's a niche market for it
mhm. Oh,
and
yeah.
like and these diehard fans, but he's brought it to like a level
Yeah.
that is just playing the Moody Center.
I mean, I watched him, one of the shows that I frequent a lot is I think it's Live at Lollapalooza 2022, and he's
Okay.
like, "We're just a bluegrass band. Metallica's fucking playing after this."
Yeah.
He's, like, opening for Metallica at
Dude, I know.
Lollapalooza. It's
Dude,
just
like that wasn't a thing
no,
before he
hell
came
no.
around. So I have so much respect for him because I've been into bluegrass for a while. Like I've watched, if you've seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou,
Mhm.
and like all the like Gillian Welch and man, like you just have all of these the Cox family. Who is it? What is it? Robert Plant, and he did a thing with I forget her name. Alison Krauss.
Alison Krauss,
Alison
yep.
Krauss. And like her and that whole scene, I remember getting into them because of Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Yeah.
And man, but he's taken it to Billy String is taken it to like a different level.
Well, and it's permeating. So, Sierra Farrell and Lucas Nelson covered "Someone Like You" by Adele
Yeah.
in a bluegrass,
Oh, that's killer.
and it's just an unbelievable rendition of that song. And you'd have to think if they would have done that 5 years, whenever that song
Yeah.
first came out, people would be like, okay, it's cool, cool musicians." But I mean, bluegrass.
Yeah, man.
First of all, Sierra Farrell and Lucas are
And
both.
I feel like, I love that that this is happening, especially like with like Billy Strings and
Mhm.
bringing it to the forefront of popular music
Yeah,
because those like that's what America was like built on,
yeah,
bro. Like, blues and bluegrass and like that
jazz. Yeah,
jazz, like that type of music, which has been like, you know, kind of pushed to the side or put on the back burner because we're just oversaturated with like pop and all of whatever the heck all of that stuff is.
yeah.
It's not
Well,
even music at this point. It's like,
literally is like zero with AI and all that crap.
dude, I know. It's like
Um,
it's so I admire and I respect guys like that so
yeah,
much, man.
yeah. I mean, no percussion. His percussion was his mandolin player. Just,
Yep. Yep. Love that, dude.
just
I love that type of stuff, man.
yeah. Um,
It's just real.
it is just real, and he's coming again in December, so I'm gonna hopefully check him out.
Dude, I'll
So,
go too.
do you pick? I mean, can you play some of those bluegrass?
Man, no, because I don't use a pick at all.
Yeah,
So I'm all finger picking
yeah.
everything. So I'd have like a very difficult time.
I thought I was okay at guitar until tried to learn a
Like
couple of those licks.
bluegrass licks. Oh,
Yeah,
dude, I know.
if you think you're good at guitar, try to go learn a couple.
Alternate picking, man. I never I just it never it never sank in, man. I could never do it
Yeah.
at that level, let alone
Well,
uh
it's such a high tempo.
at such a
Yeah.
high tempo, man. There's
It's
just
just
like they're like a train barreling down the
yeah.
tracks, dude. It's like, how can you do that? No, but yeah, I couldn't because I everything I do is like just finger picking stuff. So
Yeah.
it'd be extremely difficult to try that.
Well, Joe, I appreciate you coming out, man.
Hey,
Thank
Steven,
you for being here.
yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing your story, man. That was real,
Dude,
and
thank
I
you.
appreciate you. And hopefully, you know, if somebody hears that and they can take away something from that, then I'm gonna call that a win. And
Yeah.
I know I took some stuff away from that, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thanks for being out here. So when's the next show? Where can people catch you next?
Well, I'll be with I don't know when this will come out, but I'll be with Aubrey Logan as a special guest at 310 ACL
Okay.
at 310 on July 25th.
Okay.
And then we're doing a special taping at a place called Brody Studios, which is going to be a small, intimate crowd. So grab your tickets like as soon as possible. But that'll be on August 2nd,
Okay.
which is a taping for Austin Artist Spotlight.
Oh yeah. Awesome.
So we'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, thanks again for being here, man.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
See you out there. Thanks for listening. Know someone we should talk to? Give us a shout on Instagram at Austin Music People. Tell your friends, tell your family, and get out there and support Austin music.